Hey everyone, how's it going? Jenazad here. So I thought I'd make this video to talk about what's the point of Union level 40, what are you actually getting here, and should you really be rushing it? Because a lot of people are spamming refreshes, a lot of people are asking, should I push to 40 as soon as possible? A lot of free-to-play players are feeling kind of worried and antsy about like, oh, I'm not level 40 yet, am I really missing out? So I thought I'd make this video to really talk about what is the point and is it actually worthwhile rushing here? Also, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. So let's first start with one of the most important glaring things that a lot of people talk about, the databank. So when you're over here at level like 18, which you'll be trapped at for a while, you have a 50% chance for gold, 50% chance for purple. Well, half and half, not too bad. But once you've gotten to 20, suddenly it's 80-20. And obviously that's a pretty large increase, but not only is it a large increase, but it just feels like such a huge quality of life boost because when you're really farming for echoes and wuthering waves, it's such a pain finding purples. Purples are literally worthless for you. You're only using gold echoes. So anytime you get a purple, it's just trash. You throw it in the garbage, right? When you're trying to farm some of these 4-cost echo bosses and you get a purple, you just instantly know it's trash and you just wasted a bunch of time because you had to wait for the boss to respawn. Same with some of these elite mobs, like when you kill the herons or like the floatist or tambourinist or any of these more rare enemies and you're getting the purple, you just feel like, okay, well, this absolutely sucks because there's so few of them on the map already. Even if you're using tricks to guaranteed get echoes from some of these enemies, getting a purple is instant garbage. So the 80-20 is obviously a huge boost and people are really excited about that. Sadly, it's not 100-0. I wish it was just a 100% chance for the 5 stars. Maybe once I get 9,999,999 experience and I hit level 21, maybe I'll get that 100%. I'm assuming in the future they'll add something along those lines. Hey, maybe in the future they'll even add some form of a higher tier echo. Who knows? But that's obviously one of the biggest things that everybody really wants. But there's other things. There's other big benefits. One of the other big things is just farming areas. So I'm at a tacit field right here. This thing gives echoes, it gives experience, it gives tuners. So when you reach level 40, this is going to start dropping some better stuff. Instead of 10 tuners, you're getting 15, which I know that's not the most insane thing ever, but that's literally a 50% increase, so that's pretty significant. Hopefully in the future, they can either up the total amount of premium tuners you get, or maybe just reduce the total cost of actually running one of these areas because it does feel like a lot for what you're getting. Also, instead of one of these premium sealed tubes plus some of the purples for experience, you're getting 2 of these instead. So it's a pretty significant increase. Although I would say you already get so much XP of these. Like, look, I have 76, but I only have 48 tuners. These are definitely the gatekeepers. So that 50% increase, even though it's really nice and helpful, I think we're going to need a lot more overall. We'll have to see what they actually have in store for us in 1.1, but tuners are the gatekeep. So the faster you get to 40, the faster you're going to be more efficient at farming tuners, 50% increase, which is worthwhile. But also, fighting some of these bosses, such as Thundering Memphis, and let's say you need to farm this for upgrading your characters. So I believe it is 2 to 3 when you're at level 40, and I believe at level 30 it's 2 to 3, but I think the odds increase. I'm currently somewhere around the range of around a 50% chance of 2 drops, and 50% chance of 3 drops. So it's not the best ever. It would be nice if it guaranteed 3 minimum, but I think it increases the odds a bit. Unfortunately, not as amazing as it could be. But also, more importantly, these weekly ones, I believe you have higher chances as well. I believe it becomes 2 to 3. With higher odds at level 40. So you probably want to try and wait to do your weekly farming of this if you can. It's just more efficient overall, right? So that's some of the most important stuff for being able to actually farm these things that really everyone should care a lot about. But here's another big thing that is pretty obvious, but it's a little different than you might expect. So obviously, when you get your characters to level 70, they become a lot stronger. Duh. And you'll be able to increase the weapon. One nice thing about the weapon, though, is it does increase the main stats. So for some characters, crit damage with this weapon, Chisha has this crit rate. That's actually pretty significant, right? But here's where it gets really important. I haven't gotten these yet on Gian, but these are inherent skills. When you hit level 70, you can actually get the secondary one right here. For some characters, this is a really big boost. Gian's getting a 12% increase to crit damage. That doesn't really seem all that amazing, all things considered. But then you look at some other characters, for instance, Chisha. Not all characters are actually created equal. Chisha gets a 30% attack increase when she uses her skill for every bullet that hits. And you might say, okay, 30% attack, 12 crit damage, they seem relatively comparable, but then you look at this. Her 5th resonance doesn't even work until you've gotten that secondary passive, Numbingly Spicy. So now you're actually getting a 60% attack increase. That's kind of a huge deal. That's a really huge amount of attack that you're just getting for free, essentially, when you get that talent. And some other characters, for instance, Don Jin, also has this, which is 30% increased heavy attack damage, and that's basically her biggest nuke. So this is actually really big for some of the characters, but some get kind of screwed over. Sorry, Calcharo mains, but I don't know what the hell this thing is. You take 15% reduced damage? Just don't get hit, bro. I mean, come on, like, who needs this, right? What's the point of that? This is a really disappointing one. So some of the 5 stars seem like they're getting way worse boosts than some of the 4 stars, weirdly enough. So it might actually mean that once you get to level 70, some of the characters' tiers might change slightly once everyone's at a more equal power level, because some of the 4 stars getting these big boosts to bring them maybe closer to 5 stars. Not to mention their dupes are a lot easier to get, of course. But overall, you're able to upgrade these skills, you're able to upgrade those talents, and you're going to get a huge damage boost. And what this is going to let you do is actually complete some of the hardest content in the game. You may have been struggling before with something such as Tower. Maybe you couldn't really kill the enemies in time, right? Especially since right now there's a level 100 monkey you have to fight and a level 100 morning Ikes. How the hell are you supposed to kill that level 60, right? But once you reach level 70 and you get your inherent talent and you get those damage boosts, you start to see the point that you can actually kill them. Before, it felt hopeless. I'm never going to get enough damage. But once you're level 70, I think closing the gap in levels in this game makes a huge difference. I think you might just do more damage and take less damage the closer your level is to them. I'm not 100% sure on this, but it definitely feels as though my damage just skyrocketed versus some of these fights that felt completely hopeless before. And going along with that, of course, there's the insanely difficult fights in Wuthering Waves, the tactical holograms. And these fights obviously are considered pretty much the hardest in the game, where, especially when you're level 60, you're trying to fight these, you just die in one hit, and you feel like you're barely doing any damage to the boss, and you only have 5 minutes, so you're running out of time really easily. But once you reach level 70, it actually becomes much more viable to fight these. It's really reasonable at level 70. So what this means, I would say, with the fact that you can actually do these fights, you're getting more drops overall, the data bank is maxed out, I would consider level 40 to be the end game of Wuthering Waves. Not that it's the end of your entire journey, but essentially you've entered the end game where everyone has all of their talents. Everybody's able to actually fight some of these bosses. Everybody's able to farm way more efficiently, and you have the highest echo drop rates. So once you get to 40, you don't really have to rush to 50 or anything like that. You're not missing out once you've gotten to 40, because you essentially have everything you really need. Of course, 50 you'll get stronger, and who knows what's happening at 60. You can keep leveling up your union level, but it's probably going to take months to reach some of these later ones, especially if you're free to play and you're not using astrite refreshes every day for wave plates. But this means you're essentially at endgame. So at this point, you don't have to push super hard. You can relax a little bit more. Just start building up your characters, really farming for those echoes because it's much more efficient. And essentially, you can kind of calm down a little bit, enjoy the game without rushing anything. And I'm not saying you should rush, but a lot of people are, and a lot of people feel pressured or worried about doing that, but it doesn't really matter. So essentially, once you're 40, you've done it. You've entered the end game of Wuthering Waves, and you're ready for all content that they'll add in the future being maximum efficiency. So anyways, I wanted to make this video to talk about this because I think a lot of people are kind of concerned, like, should I be pushing to 40? Like, is it okay that I'm at 30? Am I wasting my time? Should I spend these extra wave plates? But don't worry too much about it. So thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to the channel, and I hope to see you next time.